Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today we are going to be covering all three mage specs and when to play each one. I get so many questions since Shadowlands has launched. Xaryu, which mage spec to play? And it's understandable. Everyone's trying to figure out the best spec for them, right? Fire, Frost, and Arcane are all pretty good, right? That's what it comes down to, is that all three specs are good. Similar to BFA, we saw Arcane, Volts playing Arcane Rogue in tournaments. We saw, of course, the domination of Fire in 3v3 Arena. And we did see some Frost play from Wealthy Man playing some Mage Warlock. So all three specs in BFA were tournament level viable. Now moving into Shadowlands, I'm expecting a very similar outcome. So the short answer, if you're not going to watch this entire video, is that all three specs are going to be probably, based on my estimate or guess, is that all three specs are going to be tournament level viable, meaning we're going to see them at very high levels of play in tournaments based on how the specs are operating and feeling right now. However, there is probably going to be like a metagame spec, right, that we see more of than the other two. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't play any of the three. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down when to play Arcane, when to play Fire, and when to play Frost. And a lot of the time, it depends on your playstyle. So I'm going to start with Arcane, right? When would you play Arcane? Why would you play an Arcane Mage? And yeah, why would you spec Arcane, right? So Arcane is the spec that dominates between all the mage specs in 1v1s, okay? It specializes in being good at 1v1s, world PvP, mobility, right? That's why a lot of people leveled as Arcane, because you have Chrono Shift, you have that sprint. You can handle yourself solo. It's also why Arcane is one of my personal favorite specs, because I like 1v1s. I also like 1v2s. If you can 1v1 someone, you might have a better chance to 1v2 someone, right? Or two other people. And Fire can't really 1v1 that well, and Frost can't 1v1 that well, meaning they can't 1v2 that well. So Arcane is the spec for 1v1s and 1v2s. Why? Chrono Shift, right? Gives you mobility. You can actually kite enemies. Frost and Fire don't have much mobility, and that might be a shocker to some of you guys, because you're like, yeah, they do. They have Shimmer, duh, right? Shimmer, guys, it's a 25-second recharge. You have 2 charges, right? So you get 1 blink and another blink. Once you use those blinks, you have no mobility for about another minute, right? You have nothing. You're just moving. You're running. You're moving your character. Compared to mobility creep that we've seen with Melee's expansion in the past couple expansions with charges and grips and like, if you look at a Feral, you can't kite a Feral as a Fire or a Frost Mage. You can't kite really like a Windwalker or a Demon Hunter or any of these classes. Maybe you could kite a Warrior, but eventually I think the Warrior, if the Warrior is good enough, will probably get to you. A Ret Paladin with the Undispellable Freedom is probably going to catch up to a Frost Mage as well. So basically you can't kite as a Frost or a Fire Mage anymore. That's hard. That's hard to deal with, right? As Arcane, that's not true. As Arcane, you have Chrono Shift. Chrono Shift allows you to kite. Why? It slows the enemy and gives you a speed bonus. So being able to slow an enemy, you're sprinting and then blink and then re-slow, right? Because Chrono Shift only has like a 2-second cooldown with Arcane Barrage, and then you're still blinking and moving. Like, look at this mobility. It's insane, right? So Arcane is the only spec of the 3 that can kite, meaning it's the only spec of the 3 that can really effectively duel, right? So Chrono Shift kind of allows for that position to be even set into place. Furthermore, Arcane is the class, or the specialization rather, that has more defensive cooldowns. It does have Temp Shield. It has greater Invis, which allows you to Invis during combat and get, when Invis fades, you get a 3-second shield wall, 60% damage reduced, right? You also get Mass Invisibility, which is an invisibility that allows you to do a cast out of stealth, right? So you're getting Mass Invis, Temp Shield, greater invisibility, and Chrono Shift. So that's the long answer of why can Arcane 1v2 or 1v1 and Fire can't. And I know a lot of people might be like, dude, but Fire has a lot of burst. All right. 1, you could either take it from me that I know what I'm talking about, or 2, we can go into Fire next, right, about why that isn't really the case. But yeah, so Arcane is the spec for for 1v1s, world PvP, 1v2s. You can play 3s, like I said, at tournament level, like we've seen Volts do, right? So Arcane Sub Rogue, Discipline Priest, Arcane Assassination Rogue, Discipline Priest, Arcane Feral, Discipline Priest, all compositions that we see quite often in the metagame. In fact, I've played Arcane Rank 1 a couple times with Arcane Elemental Shaman, with Oz and Born Good, with a Holy Paladin or a Holy Priest. I've played it as well with Envioso. Arcane Moonkin is sometimes good, right? So some of these compositions, Arcane Windwalker, right? So Arcane Windwalker, Moonkin, Ellie, Rogue, Feral, all really, really good comps for that Arcane Mage that we do see pop up in the metagame. And I do suspect some of these comps are going to be pretty good in 3s. So not only can it handle itself in 1v1s, 1v2s, world PvP, and some 2s, but you can also get by in 3s. So that's Arcane. That's when to play it. If you like mobility, if you like burst, if you like being able to survive as a solo class, Arcane is awesome. And that's why I think I'm going to be playing a lot of Arcane, or at least in 1v2s with viewers and stuff like that. The overall playstyle, so like you said, like I said, these are my talents, guys, I'm rolling with. This is not an Arcane guide, but just to flash them up on the screen if you do decide to pick it. And then the overall rotation is a lot of like chrono shifts, sprinting around, and then bursting with missiles when you get the procs. You're going to fate cast missiles a lot at like 1% to try to get kicks out of the way. Once you get the Arcane, what's it called? Arcane Empowerment proc, clear casting, one or two of them. All right, the way you burst is you fake all the kicks, then you pop on use Arcane Power, and then you just launch missiles with no kicks, and that would pretty much kill anyone right there. And then if they're not dead yet, then you can throw out the Presence of Mind Arcane Blasts. You have 3 of those, and then the Barrage. That's pretty much the play style. Besides that, guys, you're running around slowing and spell stealing and pulling a lot. You're not casting Arcane Blast very much. You're casting a lot of missiles, fate casting. So that's a quick little Arcane breakdown. But Fire, guys, we're moving on to Fire next. When to play Fire. Fire is going to be one of those specs that I think is going to be very dominant once again in this expansion. Could be wrong. Well, like I said, we'll have to wait and see how everything plays out. I guess actually before I move into Fire, I do want to just look at the legendary for Arcane that I think is going to be the best. Arcane Bombardment, right? I think Arcane Bombardment, being able to execute with Barrage, is just looking insane. So I think I'm going to be starting out with Arcane Bombardment. But moving on to Fire, quickly to flash the spec on the screen, this is what I'm rolling with. And 2s and 3s, I'd be rolling with this. Fire, well, why would you play Fire? Fire is a good spec if you have a healer, right? Fire is a good spec if you have a 3s team, right? It's more of, you have a lot of damage, a large meta damage with Combustion. And you can farm your combustions back with pyrokinesis. So you can just basically do a combustion go, get combust back. Do another combust go, get combust back. Over and over and over. Just as a side note, I'm not going to be talking about class abilities or covenants this video. I have a whole nother video talking about covenants. This is more about spec choice. If anyone is wondering, like, well, what covenants? I have a whole nother video covering that. But yeah, so Fire would be the spec. If you don't necessarily care about 1v1s or duels, you don't care that much about world PvP, but you want to be the best in 3s, I think Fire can definitely offer that. I think with Fire Mage Feral, Fire Mage Assassination, Fire Mage Sub Rogue, Fire Mage Warrior, Holy Pally is going to be incredible. So a lot of these Fire Mage melee compositions are looking very, 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 very top notch. So if you want to play with another melee in 3s, Fire is going to be able to do that for you. What's the playstyle? The playstyle is you're going to have a focus target. It's called this Prairie Dog. You're going to get CC on the focus target, whether it's a Sheep, a Blind, a Dragon's Breath into a Poly, a Venthyr, Door of Shadows Racial into the Poly. You're going to CC the off target. Once you CC the off target, you're going to throw down a Meteor, Combust, on use Trinket, double Fire Blast, Pyro, Fire Blast, Pyro. And that's pretty much your burst. If there's no one to break CC, you can then Phoenix Flames, Pyro, into another Fire Blast, Pyro. That's the spec, right? Now that that's a lot of damage. So now that you got a lot of defensives from the enemy, they're gonna have to use them or they die. And then you basically will just farm back another combustion, right? And you wait for your Meteor to come back, you wait for your unused to come back, you farm another combustion with fireballs. In the meantime, you're kiting, you're maybe sheeping another guy that's trying to kill you, you're frost novaing, you're dragon's breathing a ring of frosting, trying to get some people off you. And then 30 seconds later, 45 seconds later, when you have this Meteor on use, kind of combustion go back up, which by the way, Night Fae for Fire I said I wasn't talking about covenants, but you could also reset quicker with Knife A Racial if that's what you have. And then guess what? Bada bing, bada boom. You have all your cooldowns back. Once again, you sheep the prairie dog, okay? And then do that same rotation. You can go back in the video if you want to see what that was. But that same exact rotation, you burst super hard, right? And then that's the spec. You're not casting anything during your goes because you don't want to get locked out. You're making sure to land that sheep before you start doing damage. And then you reset that combust once again. That's the fire playstyle. And that's the use case that you'd want fire in, right? So 3v3 with a melee, not super strong in 1v1s. Why? Someone just uses a bubble or defensive on your combust, then you have nothing, and then you lose, right? So you combust a paladin, they bubble. Obviously can't kill through bubble. You can't reset the combust before you die, so you lose, all right? G-Pie has a 15-second cooldown. I wouldn't recommend using it. Maybe in Rogue Mage 2s I would still use it, but that's pretty much it. And then to cap off fire, I want to talk about the legendary. Legendary, I'm thinking, is going to be Fevered Incantation, just to give you extra crit damage during crits. I'm guessing this is going to be the best. At least that's the first one I will probably go for. If I'm, when I'm playing fire, I think Triune Ward will be good for all 3 specs. And then Firestorm might just be a bit too RNG for Arena, but it could be good depending on how much it procs. So I'll probably start with Fevered Incantation. But that's fire, guys. Once again, talents, haste verse for all of them. We have a whole nother video talking about that, but that's when to play fire. And now Frost. So Frost is the specialization that is not good in 1v1s either, right? Why? You don't have a stun, you don't have that much mobility, you can't really kite a lot of melees, they can just stay on top of you. Like, why would it be able to kill anything, really, right? It's one of those specs that is a support class, right? You can support another caster, usually in Arena, very well. And the reason I say another caster is because you have the ability to stay back in the open, right? You're going to play with a water Elliot. I'm guessing this is going to be the spec. I could be wrong, but I'm guessing it's going to be the spec moving forward. And a lot of the times, you're going to be dampening, making the game slower, slowing it down, like a Frost Mage, like slowing down time, right? You're going to be building up icicles, right? You're going to be building up icicles, sitting back with another wizard. So a Shadow Priest, a Warlock, a Moonkin or an Ellie Shaman, maybe, but I really like a Shadow Priest or a Warlock is what I'm thinking Frost Mage is going to shine in, right? And you're going to be able to sit back and just cast Frost Bolts, building up icicles, and then when you can land that CC, it's not like you have to. You could always just kill all 3 with dampening, with blizzards and orbs and Ring of Frosts and just kind of dampen the playstyle. So you don't chase as Frost, you play back as Frost, allowing things to happen, allowing the enemies to come into you, and then when they come into you, that's when you'll land maybe a potential sheep on the healer and pop Icy Veins on use, Comet Storm, Ice Nova, and then unlaunch all your icicles. I actually didn't have any icicles there, and then go crazy on your icicles, right? And then also, if you want consistent pressure, you have Frostbolt and a Flurry Shatter combo. Boom, big damage. Now, I guess I will take a moment in this video just to say, Frost is my least favorite of the 3 specs. I love Arcane for a lot of reasons. I think Fire is pretty well designed for a lot of reasons. Frost, though, is the one spec that just feels really awkward and weird to play from my perspective. Why? I think Frost has a lot of medium damage abilities that don't feel good. They feel very clunky, and in Arena, they don't make a lot of sense. Namely, Comet Storm, Ice Nova, Frozen Orb, maybe even Blizzard, Ray of Frost. A lot of these abilities don't feel very good in the rotation. What does feel good as Frost? What feels good as Frost is getting Ice, Fingers of Frost, and getting Flurry. Fingers of Frost and Flurry feel fantastic. They're single target burst abilities, right? So the class, to me, feels the best when you Frostbolt, Flurry, Shatter combo. That feels powerful. So, but to then have Comet Storm, Ice Nova, Orb all being AoE kind of damaging abilities that you can't press a lot because it would break CC, and then if you do press them, it's less damage than your Ice Lance, Flurry, Shatter combos, makes the spec feel awkward. Will Frost be good? Yes. Will Frost be the best? It might be, because I think Frost Subrogue and Frost Warrior and Frost Feral have a good potential to come back. We've seen Fire kind of dominate in those compositions, but I think they have a good potential to come back because of how much sustain Frost has. And those slows. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be more of a wizard meta or a melee meta, or we won't know until arena starts. But Frost is like a good all-around 3s pick. If you're going to play 2s, you have to play with a healer. You could maybe get away with playing with the Shadow Priest, but it wouldn't be the greatest. And in 1v1s, you're going to get owned. So if you don't care about 1v1s, you like to do 2s with a healer, and you're mainly about 3s, and you like to play wizards, Frost is the spec for you. Yeah, I think that's exactly when I'd be playing Frost. To me, the way you would fix Frost is a class rework, kind of like we saw with Shadow Priest, kind of like a redesign, and you have to get rid of Comet Storm, got to get rid of Ice Nova. We have to maybe make Frozen Orb a little less big of an AoE and make it deal a lot more damage, give damage back into Flurry, give damage back into Ice Lands, damage back into Frostbolt, and then we're talking, right? Will that happen? I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But we'll see moving forward. But as far as right now, Frost doesn't excite me to play it. In fact, it makes me very it's very boring to play. But I think it's going to be a very powerful spec in 3s as a support class to help another caster land kills. So like if you're playing Shadow Priest Frost Mage, the Frost Mage is going to slow everything, Shadow Priest is going to dot everything and burst everything, and then eventually kill everything. The Mage is keeping everything nice and controlled. So if you're like being a support class in 3s and you're like playing wizards or like play 2s with a healer, Frost is the specialization for you. The legendary for Frost that I would go with right away, so like I said, Triune Ward is going to be good for all 3. I actually hope it's not the best because it's kind of a boring way to play, but it is just such a good ability that I think I could see it being the best. So we'll see on that one. Grizzly Icicle, like right when I first read it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be insane. But it's only on Frost Nova, and having to run in Frost Nova to get a couple lances off, I don't know how insane it is. So we'll have to actually wait and see on Grizzly Icicle. I actually don't know. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I think Freezing Winds might be the best. Okay, yeah, we're gonna go with Freezing Winds. I'm gonna go with Freezing Winds as my first pick. Triune Ward, as all 3 specs are really good, and then Icicle as a little asterisk. But I think I would start with Freezing Winds. So those are all the legendaries for each of the specs. That's when to play each one of the specs. So I hope this video kind of breaks that down for you guys. Like, Czar, when do I play Fire? When do I play Frost? When do I play Arcane? This video literally goes in depth answering that exact question. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. If you did not enjoy the video, make sure to give it a big thumbs down. Talk to me down below in the comments about what you guys want to see in upcoming uploads. And I hope by the end of this video, you guys know exactly which Mage spec to play, which one's for you, based on what you do in the game, the play style that you prefer, whether you like slow games, bursty games, or 1v1s, or world PvP, all that kind of stuff, and then kind of how to get started with that. And with that, guys, I'm out of here. Don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram if you want to check out the Xaryu IRL content. Link is down below. And we'll check you guys in the next video. Peace.